Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to do that. Okay, that's enough of that. Welcome back to Good Germs Off-Road Adventures. Today we're looking at that Arctic Cat thing there and its apparent lack of wanting to do steering properly. Last Nothing Vlog, episode whatever I'm up to these days, on the last Nothing Vlog I explained how this thing was in a minor head-on collision. Well, first and foremost, nobody was hurt. No injuries on either rig, car, off-road vehicle, UTV, side-by-side, whatever you want to call it. The front of this met the front of a Polaris RZR of some sort. Anyway, took this apart a bit, as you can tell, because, well, bits are not on it. The upper A-arms are off. Something else is off. Oh, the front hood's off. Some other things. Anyway, we're fortunate that we don't seem to have anything bent or completely broken, I think. But as you can tell, there's something going on with that power steering box. The rack seems just fine. The steering wheel seems fine, except it's almost upside. I wasn't talking to you, Siri. I said steering wheel. Okay. Siri's got a mind of her own. Back to the Arctic Cat. The steering wheel's pretty much almost upside down now, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll show you. All right, so we can see that the front hubs or spindles are more or less both straightforward. Most importantly, though, if you look here, you can see that the rack is in the middle. That's how you know that the front should be pointing straight, but the steering wheel, well, it's upside down now. That's not the same direction it was before. So somehow the impact on the driver's side front wheel has managed to turn the steering wheel upside down. Now there's teeth up there on the steering wheel. Those, I don't see how those could ever skip. And on the input and output shaft of the power steering box, there's also teeth. The shaft inside the tube here, it has splines on it, and then the shaft that is, oh goodness, right back in there also has splines on it. And those splines have a keyway, so they can only go on one way. You cannot put it on multiple ways. It can only go one way. So somehow, nothing skipped a tooth, but yet the input and output shafts are almost exactly 180 degrees away from each other. Here are the things we don't know about these electric power steering boxes on these off-road vehicles. What we don't know is what the inside looks like at all. There aren't any diagrams that I can find of this thing, so I don't know if the input and output shaft, it's all one shaft, or is it two separate shafts? Is there a sensor inside that tells something in the computer brain that's in here? I have to assume there's a computer brain in there, that tells a computer brain when to apply electricity to the steering motion based on we're steering it from the top. I don't know. I don't know anything, except we're going to take it out of there and see what we can see. Not too terribly difficult. A couple of electrical plugs there. That one goes to a thing, actually the speedometer and stuff that goes to that one. And then this big one here on the left is just power. So we're going to unplug those. There's a collar that goes kind of here, and it has a U-bolt that goes around there just to keep this from moving like that. It's actually in the back of the car here. It just mounts in some kind of way, and then this fancy U-bolt here goes around it to keep it from moving around. And this is a clamp that holds that flexible steering shaft in place. Not too much to see here. This is just going to slide off. Those unplug. We need to unbolt, well, take the brake lines back off here. We need to unbolt the mounting bracket from the frame, which is here, and there's 2 more bolts on the back. And then also the keyway for the shaft on the bottom. That's not too complicated. I'm just going to skip right to the workbench over there as we try to take this thing actually apart. All right, well, you can see that we do have, you know, the power steering unit box thing out from the Arctic Cat. And I guess we're going to take it apart. There's a sticker here. It says, "Do not open. No serviceable parts. Warranty will be voided." Right there. You know, I don't know that we care about the warranty at this particular point. This thing, well, it's already broken. So what's the, look, what's the worst that could happen? It still doesn't work when we're done? Sure. I'm going to start with taking that cover off. And we have some contacts. I mean, clearly this is the motor here, gear set, probably maybe some sort of electrical box in there. But there's some electrical contacts in there. 3 of them, which would make sense, I guess. I don't know. It's a bunch of everything on here. At least so far, seems to be Torx bit related. Is that the right way to say that? They seem to be all Torx things, is what I'm trying to say. That's fine. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, I dropped a screw in there. Well, with any luck, maybe we'll retrieve it when if we get this thing apart. These Torx screwdrivers are supposed to be magnetic, but the magnet's not great, as you can tell. Anyway. Okay. Now what? Should we take this whole case off, or I think we should probably start here with this. Not that one. This one? Okay. What is this size? 20? I just grabbed myself a bunch of Torx bits that I had. I mean, this is a 30. This is pretty much the entire car is built with Torx 30. I saw the Torx on the outside of this and just grabbed a few. Is there a spring under here? It's pushing up. See? I don't know if there's a spring under here. There we go. No, there's no spring under there. Huh. I'm going to put those screws in there. There's a little board under here. We're learning together what's inside an electric power steering box. Okay. The little circuit board says Globe Sense Board. It's strange, it's mounted on the back side of the motor here. I don't know if it's got a sensor in here that senses the motor turning. I don't know. How do we unplug something like this? I think if you've ever worked on any electronic things. Oh, I see the problem. There's a clip in here. We push the clip out. I don't want to break. This tape here. This tape, it's not really a tape. I mean, it's kind of like a tape, but it's got connectors in it. Oh, I got this out. It looks like a tiny little, it's just like a tiny little plastic body rivet clip. Okay, now how does this come off? I think we can just slide that off like that. Okay. Well, let's very carefully set that over there. Should we take these 3 screws out and then we can take the motor out? Oh, there's a 4th one. Okay. Oh, there we go. The motor came out. These were the contacts here that attached from the top, so I'm glad we took those out. Well, here's the motor. I think this is just setting in a case. It's got a rubber clutch in here. This does have a spring on it. Let's just set this over here. The motor, we know the motor works because we saw it, you know, turn earlier. Let's see. I guess let's take this cover off. Like I said, you're all just coming along the adventure with me. One thing I've noticed, though, as I was looking at parts on eBay, you know, a used one of these is ranging about $600 to $800, excuse me, $600 to $800 or so on eBay. But a brand new one's close to $2,000. They are available, but I don't think the car is worth spending $2,000. So if we can't figure out what's going on and fix it, actually, we'll probably replace it with another used unit from eBay. Oh my. Okay. Well, this just plugs in here. We can take that off. That's nice. If anybody knows how to look at these and tell me if there's anything burned out or broken in here, let me know. I have no clue. I don't think there's any torque sensors. I think that's what this is here. You can see that's wrapped around the shaft here. So we're just gonna pretend that that's fine and put that over there. What else? We can turn this now, and both ends are turning. The motor is turning. Not the motor, sorry, the gear drive for the motor. Can we get this off? How do we get that off? I don't know. Okay. More screws. More little screws. So here's the thing. Here's what I don't know. Because nobody publishes a diagram of this motor assembly thing. What I don't know is this shaft and the shaft at the bottom, you know, down here, is that all one unit? Or is it two bits that are connected in some way? And I have a hard time understanding which way that might be, because like I was mentioning earlier, the steering wheel is 180 degrees off, and that ties to this end. So given that, how does it go together? I do see a bit of a keyway in here. Probably can't see it right here. I don't know what that does. Well, we'll just keep taking it apart and we'll just see where we end up. So I just don't know if it's two pieces, if they are no longer in sync with each other. Is that causing a problem to, well, that won't come out. Why won't that come out? How does this come out? Now, how does that? Oh, okay. Well, that came out. And now we have this thing. So this drives a worm gear. You can kind of see it here. If I turn the motor gear here, you can see the worm gear there, and it's driving a giant plastic, what kind of gear would you call that? Ring gear? It's very smooth. You can see there's grease in there. But now the question becomes, can we continue to take it apart? This looks like a bit of a spring clip on here, right there. So I think a little flathead screwdriver, we might be able to get that off, and then we can get this off. And this, I can only imagine, is some kind of a sensor. Some kind of a sensor that senses rotation, I guess. Okay, let's see if this will come out. I'm a little nervous because I don't want to break any plastic things. Oh, here it comes. Because nothing in here can be replaced, which is fantastic. Okay, I've got this clip out, but it didn't. It's not letting me take anything out. What's on the back side of this? Oh, that looks like some kind of special tool you'd need. We definitely don't have a tool that looks like that. So we'll turn it back this way. Can I spread this? Is that how this is going to come off? Or is it going to come off? Very strange. Like I said, I don't want to break anything. It does look to me like there's 4 clips here. And then this should come off. And it looks like it's 2 pieces. Maybe it comes apart in the middle. Oh, wait. Yep, I think we're getting somewhere. This one might do it. Oh, yep, that one worked. And one more clip over here. And one there. Got it. Okay, got the top off. Now what? Oh my goodness. Well, this apparently turned out to just be a cover. Nothing more than that. How does this come off? If this wasn't all plastic, we could use a puller of some sort and hope that these plastic clips here don't mess up because they are grabbing the shaft. Oh, apparently that just comes off. Okay. Don't exactly know what that does. There's a couple of metal contacts in there it sets on. Very interesting. I want to remove you, but I don't know how. The more I look at this, the more I tend to think it's one solid shaft with just a worm gear drive to help it. I don't tend to think it's two different shafts. But I've got no way to know that. There's just no good way to get in here to do any of this. I mean, they didn't design it to be serviceable. They designed it, I guess, to not be serviceable or repairable or refix. Not exactly sure why you don't want something to be able to be fixed. Well, I wonder what would happen if I put a screwdriver between. There's 4 clamps on here that I can see. 4 clips. What happens if I put a screwdriver on each one? Just the tiny screwdrivers on each one. If I do that, again, I have no idea what I'm doing. Because if I knew what I was doing, I probably wouldn't be trying to do this. Yeah. Okay. Now, oh, it moved. Oh, it's coming. Come on then. Yep, it's coming out. Okay. It's not coming out easy. Oh, there it comes. Okay. Oh, shoot. Yep. Okay. Pretty certain those tabs that I thought clipped out, pretty certain they're just broken now. So I think we've probably broken that. Now what? Can it come apart? Oh, probably not. I mean, but everything does appear to still be lined up, which is what I don't understand. Oh yeah, that's the keyway. It's very interesting. And see if we can maybe turn this over like this, and maybe we can tap that out. Probably not. Probably just making more mistakes. Well, I'm a bit of at a loss here, friends. And I'm kind of thinking this thing is not really worth fixing. Be hard to see, but it looks like it started actually separating the gap here in that shaft right there. So let's see if we can get more of it out. Oh, but it doesn't move it enough. It looks like it only moves it a hair. So there's no point to keep doing that. Okay, whatever. Well, friends, I am at a point where I think that this is kind of a wasted endeavor. I don't think this is gonna get anywhere. So, with that, apparently what we've succeeded in doing is just further ruining the power steering box. I'm pretty certain if we tried to put this thing back together, it won't work. But hey, what's the harm in trying? I don't see any harm in trying. I think let's go ahead and reassemble this now. Now, once we put this back together and plug it in over there, I think it would be absolutely hilarious if it actually started functioning properly. However, we didn't actually do anything except for make it worse. What I mean by that is we broke some of the bits right there, right there. So we made it just a little bit worse is what we did. Uh-oh. So I seriously doubt that's gonna fix it. All right, well, it's back together. Let's set it over there on the car, plug it in. I guess we'll just see what happens. Okay, so I've just got the motor setting kind of upside down on the front of the car here. I've got it plugged in. So I'm going to turn the key on and we'll just kind of see what happens. My gut tells me it's just going to spin. Oh. No, it's not. What about if I turn the shaft down here? Oh, it's locked up. It don't work at all now. Well, I guess that's what happens when you mess with things you ought not to mess with. It's about right. Let's go ahead and turn the key off. Oh, there was a code. What was that code? C1305. I have no idea what that code means, but we can look it up. We do have a book, but I'm pretty certain it's safe to say that it's broken. I'm sure that has nothing to do with hitting it with a hammer. That can't have anything to do with it, but like I said in the beginning, what's the worst we could do? Make it not work more? And that's exactly what we have here. It doesn't work. I am curious about that code. That code's new. It didn't do that before. It's probably some communication code. Probably broke some of the electronics in there, but that's okay. What we've learned today is there's a reason why they don't want you taking these things apart. It's because, well, you can't do anything with it if you do. Yeah. Well, I looked up the code, C1305. It says rotor position encoder, EPS, internal rotor position encoder condition has been detected. Possible cause, internal EPS condition. EPS fault recovery method, correct EPS condition. Literally tells you nothing, and that's all the steering faults all do that. I'll show you. You can see right there, the one in green, C1305, that's the code that we had on our screen, but literally, there's nothing you can do for any of it. So unfortunately, I think where that leaves us is we're going to have to just replace the unit. The position encoder, that's that round thing that was around the shaft that we broke trying to get it out, and some of the plastic bits are on the table here. I'm guessing that that's actually the cause for some of our problem as well. I'm still confused how the steering wheel ended up upside down, but stay tuned, because once we get another power steering unit for this, we'll come back and we'll install it and we'll see what's what and if we can make it any better. This was a pretty uneventful video. We didn't really do anything. All we did was make the box a little worse. We made it so you can't even turn it when it's got power put to it or at all. But thanks for hanging out with me today, as we learned absolutely nothing other than don't open up a power steering box, because there's nothing you can do in there. So in the meantime, y'all ride safe and work on things in a safe way. The wife's out there getting something out of her car. Anyway, well, now it's a couple of weeks later and a miracle has happened. Look at that. It's all back together, and not only is it back together, let me show you something else that it is. Let's see. Let's turn the key on. Lovely. Well, we can see that it's not trying to steer itself left anymore, and we have power steering again. Anyway, well, like I said, it is a miracle. No, it's not a miracle. What has happened is I've repaired the steering box. That's not true either. What has happened is I've replaced the power steering box. Here's the old power steering box. I put the bracket back on it because I did order a replacement one, and it came with the bracket on it. Now, I did not buy a new one because a new one is upwards of about $1,700-$1,800, and well, I don't think the car's really worth spending that kind of money on a replacement part. Was seeing all sorts of used ones on eBay from all sorts of dismantlers and salvage yards, and anywhere from $1,000, $900, $800. That's what I kept seeing quite a bit. One of my favorite places, still $600, but I found one for $400, and it found its way into the machine here. So what I've done is installed it. It's a little dirty. Something tells me it was stored outside for all of its life, but that's okay. I don't care what the outside looks like. It's going to be covered by a big plastic thing here. So there it is, $400, found it on the eBay, some random salvage yard that I've never used before, somewhere I think in Texas. Came in about a week ago, put it in today. Honestly, there's not a lot to it to put it in there. It came already on the bracket, so all I had to do was set it on the splines. It can only go one way. There's a little keyway. Put it on there, bolted it down, and then brought the steering shaft, the flexible steering shaft over. Same thing, lined it up, put it on, put the bracket on. And earlier in the video, I showed you where this bracket went, and it's just a U-bolt, goes around the backside. Bolted that down, plugged it all in, and now it does, power steering things. Also, lined the steering wheel back up. Still don't know how it turned 180 degrees off, but whatever. It's lined back up, straight. Also, you may have seen on the workbench there, an rim. So this was the front wheel off of the driver's side front, and I had to replace this because it was leaking air and it wasn't the tire. You can see she's cracked right there from the that is from the collision, the accident. You can actually see it good from here too. A little crack right there. So on the eBay, once again, I actually found this wheel, one of my favorite motorcycle, ATV, UTV salvage places. I forget where they are. Idaho? No. I don't remember where they are. It really doesn't matter. They offer free shipping, so it doesn't matter. They're called Power Sports. No? Yes. Power Sports Nation. I've mentioned them before, probably a year or two ago, for some parts that I had put on the old, Chicken Hawk, Polaris Hawkeye. Great company to get, used parts from. All their parts work. They're not clean, but they're a salvage yard. What do you want? You can clean them up yourself. If you need to paint them, you can paint them yourself. Anyway, got the wheel from them. They had plenty of them. And so now we have the wheel. Well, it's right there. So now, really, that's probably going to do it. We've got steering working again, wheel back on there. Got an alignment to work out. Got to figure out how to do that. I mean, I know how to lengthen and shorten the tie rods. It's not that. It's how to do the measuring and make it, you know what I mean. But that'll probably be it finally. And I can finish this video. I feel better knowing that the car is back in one piece. It's down off of the lift that it was on, and it's nearly ready to go out. Once the shocks are rebuilt, then it'll be fully ready, but at least it's drivable again. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Very much appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, comment, those things. I think that's about it. Listen, y'all ride safe, garage, work in your workshop safe. Just be safe. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye now.